Hey, great morning, mortgage and real estate world. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Coffee with Todd. It is 9 o'clock on the West Coast, 12 o'clock on the East. Good to be with you as it always is on these Coffee with Todd sessions. We have a delightful show for you today. We're going to welcome Ashleigh Fletcher from CMG Financial. Ashleigh has a beautiful story to tell. And of course, as always, our divisional president of High Trust Coaching, Hope Bourman, is with us. And the neat thing is Hope is Ashleigh's coach. So it's kind of fun to get off on this today. And we've got 35 minutes of really fun stuff that I think you're going to be able to pick up from this. As is always the case, if you have any live comments for Ashleigh as we go through this, or any curiosity about things that we can do at High Trust to help you win in the market, go ahead and post that over in the live comments section. We tend to pull those into the conversations as well. A couple of highlights real quick. Ashleigh's doubled her business in the last 18 months. There was an event that occurred that caused her to really see and think about the possibility of doing business uniquely and differently. And what makes the story even more powerful, I believe, is that 3 years ago, right before she actually kind of made the shift, and actually the shift probably took 12 months after 3 years ago, she was ready to quit, right? Ashleigh, you were ready to leave the business? Mm-hmm. Is that what I heard you say?
Yes. Yep.
So 36 months ago, you were out.
I checked out. I had mentally checked out of this industry. It was just putting loans together. That's all I was doing.
So the joy had gone, the passion had gone. You just weren't having fun anymore doing loans, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So let's talk about the changes, because I know that you had a personal best record month last month, I believe, right? You had just one loan shy of 20 fundings for the month. That's epic. I also know that you have only done through June 3 refinances. You have completely focused on the purchase business. So walk us through, what was the moment that you decided to change, and how did it change? And then talk about just the catalytic shift in how you geared the business up, because it looks like if you stay on this pace this year, you're going to be doubled what you were, a year and a half ago, and 10 or 11 mil ahead of what you did last year.
Yeah.
Tell us your story.
So I've been in this in the mortgage industry, wholesale, and then subprime, and then retail for about 17, 18 years. After that length of time, you kind of just get over dealing with all of the griping, all of the complaining, and just everything changing. So probably about 3 years ago, I kind of hit my point to where I was just done dealing with it. But something that my father had always taught me, my father was a former Marine, and one thing that he always taught me is you take care of your military and their family, because they're protecting you. They're giving you the ability to have what you have. And we're not too far from the Queen area, where there's a huge military base here, one of the biggest, I think, in the country. And I did a loan for an on-site builder, and he actually called me about something that had nothing to do with a mortgage loan. But he was getting kind of screwed by his company. And I kind of walked him through how it wasn't right and what he needed to do. And after that, he left and he went with one of the biggest teams in Queen. And he's like, look, y'all need to quit using this other lady. She's rude to our clients. She's this, she's that. You need to use my girl over there. And I'd only closed one loan with him, keep in mind. And that's that one loan that he called me about. So it's not just about closing their loans. It's about being there to answer questions that have nothing to do with loans, because this had absolutely zero to do with it. And now we're working with 3 or 4 of the biggest teams in this area. We're growing like wildfire. And, I closed over 4 million. I want to say maybe one of them was out of this area, was not in this area. Everything else was in this area. And just my passion is reignited, helping veterans and their families get into their homes easily and without being taken advantage of.
Yeah. So I would just comment to everybody watching this. This is the kind of transformation we all need to be renewed with, even on a daily basis. I think the business is a hard business. I particularly think it's hard as I look at the hundreds of thousands of loan officers that we've trained, and how dysfunctional they are at the start as they approach the business. And some have dug in their heels and they haven't changed after 20 or 25 years. They're still not functional in the way they do the business. So they're not having fun. They're not having joy. And, one of the things that we just did when COVID hit is we recorded a brand new 16-hour video series called Connect. And one of the things you just brought up, Ashleigh, is the idea that what business is really about is it's about connected relationships. It's about making sure that you understand that the best business partnerships go way beyond doing deals together. It goes into really, what do we have to experience with each other, and how can I help you win? And that's what High Trust Coaching does. I mean, it effectively sets up our coaching members to have the mindset of abundance for the people that you are serving, be them borrowers, be them real estate agents, builders, whomever. And I think that's a transformative piece. There's no value in not having fun in this business and not doing it well with the people that you love. And I think you express that.
Yep. And that's correct. You have to have passion and you have to have fun to be in this industry, or you're just not. It's not about a paycheck. It can't be about a paycheck, or you're never going to grow. Yeah. And you're never going to like it.
So what would you point to that changed your passion, that renewed either your why or whys and brought you back? Tell us that transition, because that had to happen for you to be where you are today.
It's just because I got out of the Austin market mainly because there was just too much building going on. Everybody was tied to a builder or this and that. And you either got their scrap leftovers that they couldn't close for 6 months. And Killeen is a very small area, and it's a very small town, and you have to do a lot to break in. And it was hard to do, but it's just the passion of being able, knowing that I'm educating a veteran on how to better themselves, how to get them into a house that they never thought that they could do, and making sure that they know that they're taken care of at the end of the day. And it's just the passion that I know I can now help a veteran, somebody who gave me my freedom. I can help get them into a house.
See,
that's what renewed my passion.
Yeah, that's huge. I can see that being a jump starter for sure, to realize that there's a connected state of being, because you are tying relationship and what you do professionally to a greater cause, which is our freedom and our protection. And I think anybody watching this episode, and all you have to do is watch the news for the last couple of months, and you can just see the challenges this country has, and you can see the need to really connect purposefully around the things that matter most. I can't imagine a better way to do mortgages than to do them for men and women who fight for our freedom. That has got to fill your cup up every single day.
Exactly. Yeah. I love working with them.
Yeah. So Hope, talk as Ashleigh's coach. What are 2 or 3 of the things that you are most proud of what she's done as a coaching member? Because I think Ashleigh, you just jumped into coaching kind of blind faith. Was it last August? It
was August. I went to your Atlanta, Georgia seminar.
So we did a private High Trust Sales Academy for CMG, and you were there. And so let's just tell that story, Hope and Ashleigh, and take it anywhere you'd like for the next 5 or 6 minutes.
Todd, I have to say that in talking from day one, Ashleigh was so committed, and she was committed because she had a passion. She, spoke about her passion. Joseph Campbell always says, follow your passion, and the doors will open up for you. And that's exactly what happened for Ashleigh. So when she said to me, this market is really tough to break into, I don't know how I'm going to do it, and that type of thing, we just kept following the passion and staying focused on what she wanted to accomplish and who she wanted to serve. And that door opened up for her. And I've never seen anybody more committed to learning, to growing, to leadership, to all of those things, building relationships, within her organization, building relationships outside her organization and her community. And most importantly, Todd, just stepping out of her comfort zone, just being willing to step out of her comfort zone and go and have those conversations, and being willing to be, to be rejected and all of those things. I think that those are the things that really kind of keeps me looking forward to those calls with her, because her willingness to learn and grow.
Yeah. And so I think, what I'm hearing in this is, and it's really an important concept for everybody to get, there is a direct relationship between how successful we become as men and women and the amount of courage we actually have. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and he said, courage is bravery in the face of uncertainty. And I think what Ashleigh did is she trusted the uncertainty and then bolstered the courage and the bravery. And here we are now. You know, it's perfect, right? Except for the fact we just lost Ashleigh's picture. Are you still with us, Ashleigh?
Yeah, I'm still here. Somebody called my phone and it blocked out the camera now. So,
oh boy. All right. So courage pushes out fear, right? And, if you have courage, then you can make stuff happen. And we're talking about just shy of a year since this transformation, Ashleigh, that you started going after with coaching and everything. So what are let's talk about, I think one of the things you said is you're not a big fan of the refi world. And, you know, I get that. And, particularly refis that are not connected to anybody you've ever done a loan for in the past. Anyway, I think you told me on our pre-call that you ended up with one agent that opened the door to everything you're experiencing today, which is all high trust selling, all circle of cash flow. Talk about that story and what that did for you.
I mean, this guy he's a younger guy. He worked for a smaller builder, and they had some deals worked out to help these clients move out of their apartment and pay the lease and this and that. The builder agreed to it, and they came back afterwards, and they were going to take it from my agent, from my on-site's commission. And I told them, they can't do that to you. You know, if this is in a contract and they said that they're going to pay this, they can't. In that contract, it doesn't say anything about them taking it from your commission. That's illegal. And so then he went back to them and they paid him his money, you know. And so he eventually left. I didn't realize that he left the builder company because, you know, he's an on-site and this and that. But probably 2 or 3 months later, I knew he was in the area, and I had a former client that needed to be referred out. I gave it to him, and he's not even a buyer's agent. He's a listing agent for the company that he's with. But he still kept talking about me, you know, to work with his company because they do a lot of buy sell from their own companies and whatnot. Right. And so that's why he wanted me on the buy side, because he knew he wouldn't have to worry about anything. If I could read a contract correctly, then I could help a buyer get into a home. And so because of that, the team name, they would say, oh yeah, Ashleigh does this for us. So then more agents that I didn't even know were calling me. Yeah. You know, and it's all because I answered a question that had nothing to do with a buyer. It had to do with his own commission. Right. And saved him like $3,400.
That's crazy.
So, you know,
that's awesome. Ray, is there anything technologically that Ashleigh can do on her end to get her camera back live? Are you on a cell phone, Ashleigh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, Hope, do you want to just keep going or have Ashleigh sign out and re-click the link? We can do it this way if you want.
Let's just keep going. I think. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So I like this because now you have the connected referral partners that the rest of the industry right now, I think, they haven't intentionally turned their back on them, but not being present is disconnection by that not being present. Everybody's just swamped with refis, right? And so you're not doing that. You've also, I think, really had an awakening around how to build teams and how to deepen partnerships. So, Hope, what's your observation of Ashleigh and the whole idea of scaling the business and getting to a point where she's going to be able to, it looks like, triple her volume from 2 years ago in the year that's coming? What have you seen as a coach? And then Ashleigh, what have been some of the big lessons you've learned around building teams? Yeah. So we'll start with you, Hope.
Okay. So, one of the things that we do in master level is we coach to building teams and leadership. And so obviously Ashleigh is at master level. So it was something we really invested ourselves in. And it became very, very clear that Ashleigh's highest and best opportunity for growth was being out and talking to people, not in the weeds, originating loans, packaging files, and that type of thing. So it became very clear that she needed to hire someone. And she hired, I think, 1 or 2 people, and every call was, hope this person's not learning, they're not getting it. Ashleigh is, she is a perfectionist. And I had to keep reminding her, Ashleigh, how long did it take you to learn this business? And so we had to keep pulling her off and pulling her back and learning and teaching, becoming a teacher and that type of thing. And then also, when it just wasn't working, she had to be willing to walk away. And she did. She walked away, and I think she walked away in a very good way. She did finally hire someone that was a perfect fit. And it was, Todd, it was like night and day. This person had all of the skills that they needed to have, which is what we coach to make sure that we didn't hire someone just like us, but we had someone who was invested and had the skills that we needed in the back office. And then, obviously that has just accelerated. I think that Ashleigh, I don't know how long your LOA has been with you, but it's been less than 2 months. Is that right?
Correct. She started on May 11th.
And she's just ramped up incredibly fast. And Ashleigh is just grateful for her every single day.
Yay.
There she is.
Okay, cool. Let's see.
Okay,
cool. Is that working?
Yay, yes.
Okay, cool.
So talk about, I think you said you've
Awesome.
kissed some frogs and you finally found the right. What are the hiring lessons you've learned? What are some of the lessons you've learned about team building in the last 10 to 11 months since HTSA?
I mean, in Austin, it's one thing because it's such a big town. In Killeen, it's another thing because it's a very small town. So with this area, I wanted one of my agents to refer me somebody, because then they would have worked with them before, more than likely, and they would know how they would work and how they would do in this industry. And they referred me. One of the big companies was kind of downsizing, and they referred Marisol to me. And, she doesn't have a whole lot of background in mortgages at all, but she knew property management, and she knew about being detail oriented and timelines and this and that. And so all I had to do, you can teach the mortgage industry. You can't teach, sense of urgency, and customers. You can't teach that stuff. So she came with the stuff that I didn't need to teach, if that makes sense.
Well, I think it does. And I think there's two problems that we see in the industry. One is that the biggest mistake LOs make is they try to hire an extension of themselves, right? They try to hire their clone, and that's actually not what we need, right? We don't need somebody like you, because the reason you're trying to find somebody to help you out is because you have weaknesses and you have
Exactly.
character flaws in terms of how you do the business that just, it's like, I'm not detail oriented. And so I can't just try to be detail oriented. I'm much smarter off having somebody on my team that is detail oriented. You can't train drive, you can't train urgency, you can't train work ethic, you can't train any of those internal things. And I think far too often people end up hiring somebody and they realize that what they were hoping to get and what they got were more the inside things missing than any experience they've had on the outside. And I think you made a great point that you can teach the mortgage industry. You can't teach the intrinsic skills that are necessary for success.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I learned with my last one. She didn't care to learn the industry. She didn't care to have a sense of urgency, nothing, and it killed my industry, my business, because I was having to go back and recheck everything she did because I couldn't trust her to do anything. So I was doing double the work.
That's huge. That's huge. And I'll say one thing to anybody wishing to build teams and hope, our master level coaching is about team building. It's about helping you expand the size of your team. The idea behind hiring people that are at level 10 and holding out for the right person to the best that you can is one of the smartest moves that any practitioner can make. If we hire people on the whim, if we hire too fast, if we don't do deep enough interviews, if we don't have somebody else on the team validate, or your coach or whatever, there's so much time spent trying to undo what we shouldn't have done in the first place, and you end up then with these peaks and valleys that are hard to really get through, let alone thrive through, right? And so the key to team building is, and we've all learned these lessons. I've lost people I wish I hadn't lost, and I've kept people I probably shouldn't have kept, and I think we all learn the mistakes. But the idea of balancing out what you're not gifted at, the key to delegation is, what am I not naturally gifted at that I need to be surrounded by people that have that gift? Because if it's about giftedness, then you don't have to overmanage the team. You don't have to overpower them. You don't have to micromanage the team. You get to let the team flourish because they're the right people. What do you see happening now that you have the right LOA over the next 2 to 3 months as we head into the end of Q3, given the fact now that you have all this volume without an LOA and now you have one? What do you expect to have happen?
What I'm hoping is going to happen is we're working on her getting licensed. That way, every week or so, I can give her something new to do to start taking over, whether it's running fees, going over CDs. Like right now, I'm teaching her how to go over closing disclosure so she can start explaining those to clients whenever they have questions on those. So I'm really just hoping that, because she seems to be a perfectionist like me, and somehow we still get along. It's just nice that I've already built the confidence with her that I can see myself, once she's licensed, to start giving more of the, talking about rates, talking about fees to clients, and doing more of the behind the scenes stuff that only loan officers can do, because of our licensing. That way I can get out and do more marketing, because of, everything that we've done. We've brought in a new builder account. We brought on like 2 or 3 new real estate agents just in the last time that Marisol has started, because they like our updates. They like that we answer our phones and communicate with everybody.
Yeah, that's cool. What say you, Hope?
Well, and I think that's what Ashleigh was just saying was very important, is that, we one of the other things we did at master levels, when we hired Marisol, we did a joint call with, I did a joint call with Ashleigh and with Marisol, just to give her perspective of what our goals are, what we're looking to accomplish. And she got off the call and she was very sweet, but she was like, this is intimidating. You talk to Hope. I don't want to talk to Hope anymore. But it was a great perspective for her. And I got a chance to get to know her a little bit. And she is very committed to to becoming very good at it. She's committed to getting her license. I see that Teresa O'Dad is on the call. And one of the things that Teresa's always done is that she's hired the right people. She's hired the right people, and then she's brought them up, and with the right heart, the right intention, the right passion. Yeah. And then she taught them the mortgage business, and these people have been with her for years and years. And I kind of see that for Ashleigh as well.
Like, just to Teresa's credit, decades.
Yeah.
You hire the right people. And I think it's interesting because the idea of if teams don't learn together, they can't grow together. And, we're 70 days out from Sales Mastery Live Digital this year, and we have at least 7 sessions that we've designed as breakouts at Sales Mastery for ops teams. And so that LOs can actually plug their assistants into the Sales Mastery experience and learn, because if a team learns together, a team grows together. And if a team grows together, then a team succeeds together. And so it's very cool to have everybody kind of think this way. And to your point, Hope, there's no downside to slowing the hiring process down and making sure, as best as possible, you absolutely have the right person.
It's so true. And I'm so glad, Todd, that we're doing this with Sales Mastery. We've always had the door open for our ops teams to come to Sales Mastery, but with the fact that we're doing this and opening that door for all of operations, I think that is going to be an incredible lift for them to have that perspective as an organization. I think it's going to be just amazing.
It'll be fun. So, Ashleigh, a couple mistakes that you have made that you can share since you came to HTSA, and or a couple of the ahas when you were at the Hydro Sales Academy in Atlanta, just not even a year ago, right?
Yes, sir.
What were a couple of your big lessons learned in the last, what would essentially be the last 11 months?
Probably that you can't expect results to happen overnight. You have to give it time, because a couple of things, and obviously my mind is blank, but there were some things that you went over during our Georgia trip that I was already doing, but I wasn't consistent at it, and you can't, with some of these marketing strategies, you have to give it 6 to 9 months, and on top of that, you have to cater it towards your your area, because what might work in California isn't going to work in my area of Killeen, and one thing I know that I got away from, because we had access to all of this internet stuff, was not meeting with clients face to face. We all got away from that. I think a lot of us got away from that. And you, in your sales mastery class, said we need to be spending time with our clients. We need to have them meet with us. I probably had more people in my office in the last 6 months than I did in the last 2 years combined.
Wow.
Because it's letting me get to know my clients better. It's letting them get to know me better. Then, for lack of a better word, they might feel guilty for even ditching me because I've spent so much time with them. And so it's not all about interest rate. It's not all about fees. It's about the connection that you make with your client. Because, and I've always told people, I will never be the cheapest one out there, but if your loan is going to close on time as easy as possible, it's going to be me. And you can't always be the cheapest,
I think there's a direct correlation, particularly in, the announcements like in the last 4 days, interest rates hit now another all-time low. There's a proclivity, I think, for the buying industry, home buyers and homeowners to think it's always going to be about rate. And there's certainly nothing wrong with trying to get the best rate you can possibly get. But what people miss is they miss the connection piece. The deeper the emotional connection and the more a client knows you have their back, the less the eighth or quarter or maybe even 3/8 matters. And I love that line. It reminded me of one of the things I used to say as a loan officer is we're not the cheapest, but I'd like to think we're the best. And so you start to just think that way, and it's super important. Yeah.
I've lost her.
You get what you pay for.
We lost your audio. Now we lost her, period.
Okay.
All right. So Hope, let's see if she jumps back on, but what's been your greatest joy as Ashleigh's coach? I mean, why do you do what you do, and what have you seen, and how have you benefited by having Ashleigh as your coaching client?
I think that the greatest joy is her willingness to listen. I mean, some of our conversations, Todd, have not been easy. When she was, at odds with a manager, or when she was at odds with the former LOA, some of those conversations were not easy to have. And shifting her perception and her willingness to listen and to just hear it out and to ask her the questions. And in coaching, you do that by asking questions. Is that true? Is that real? And her openness and willingness, kind of shifted her perspective in the time of one call. And it just redirected her, her entire direction. So I think that's been the biggest joy in working with her, is her willingness to grow and her willingness to learn and listen and listen and make a change, even when she's so committed to a certain way of doing things.
Yeah.
Or so committed to her beliefs or whatever that is, to at least consider a different perspective.
Yeah. I think that as we think about what Ashleigh said, she was talking about, consistency. And I think consistency is where almost every business practitioner can upgrade their game. Mm-hmm. It's to Ashleigh, your point, and thanks for coming back on. It's not what you learn. It's how well do you execute it, yes, and how consistently do you execute it. And when we talk about rhythm, and we talk about habits, and we think about the fact that the biggest habits can take over 260 days to become an actual habit, nobody could validate an argument that consistency isn't the most important thing, with the exception of competency, because there is a relationship between competency and consistency. If I'm not competent at something, then I am not going to be consistent at doing it. So right. The better I get at business, the better business gets for me. But that's the consistency piece. So really exciting stuff. So Ashleigh, take us to the vision for the balance of the year. We're July 6th or 7th right now, and what do you see happening? What are your top 2 or 3 things you want to tick off between now and the end of the year?
One thing that Hope and I talked about, I want to get better at the high trust interview. I want to make it more conversational, whether it be with, a builder, a realtor, whatever. I need to sit down and I need to practice those things. Marisol and I are going to actually sit down and start doing like the role playing, and this and that. And that's something that's getting me out of my comfort zone too. And I want to get better at one thing I keep saying I'm going to do. My company is fantastic with marketing. I can't say enough about CMG and how much they take care of and support their loan officers. But I want to make more personalized things. And I keep saying I'm going to do videos for home anniversaries, birthdays, and this and that. And we already send those out, but it would be better if I was doing it myself. And so that's one thing that Marisol and I need to time block, because that's another thing I need to work on is my time blocking. I know that. And just get better at recording those, because that's the one thing I think keeps us in our client's mind, is that we're not just relying on our system to send stuff. We're doing it ourselves. Because like one thing we have in Texas is a homestead exemption. Yeah. So what we're doing at the end of every year, starting in November, we send, because you can only file it between January and April. Starting in November, we start sending all of our owner-occupied purchases a notice to, hey, file your homestead. Here's what you need to do. Just so we have a reason to reach out to our clients for, 4 or 5 months monthly. And so I just want to get more connected with doing my own marketing too, because again, CMG is fantastic, but I need to get in the habit of reaching out to my people too and making it more personalized. So,
and I would encourage everybody to take Ashleigh's kind of her desired end result here, because there is nothing better than the personal touch. And I think we've over automated relationships, and I think that there's so much digital noise that it kind of gets in the way of the connected relationship. And so, a best practice, I believe, for the local lender to dominate the way that they build their business is to have a more consistent, rigorous discipline around connection, which can be face-to-face on Zoom, or face-to-face on FaceTime, or anything like that. And it can also be just the personal calls. I mean, I got a list today, and it's in front of me, and this is my call list today. And these are all the people I have to call to. Let's see how to do this. All the people I have to call today, and and I'm making personal connection. I do it every single day. I mean, if there's no calls being made, there's no connection being made, and if there's no connection being made, there's no business being made. So it's a great lesson.
And one trick one thing that you taught me or taught us is doing the video text messages. Like after you call somebody, if they don't answer, follow up with a video message. I've gotten away from doing that. I really have, and that's something I need to start implementing again. But I can honestly say I get more responses from people now that are missing my phone calls when I followed up with them with a video text, and so I'm even thinking about implementing that because I'm all about cross-selling and reaching out to listing agents and this and that. Maybe even do a video message with them, introducing myself, not calling them maybe, but introducing myself to them so that they know who they're dealing with too.
Video rules. And I'll tell everybody a quick story. I was going back and forth for about 3 months with a decision maker, CEO in the mortgage business, and we were just missing each other. And it was text. Mm-hmm. So one day I just decided to do a bomb video, and I sent him a quick video, embedded it in an email. And it wasn't 2 minutes after I hit send that my phone rang and he had replied. And I believe it was the video message, because we're friends enough where texting works, right? But we weren't connecting. And I send a video, and boom. And now we're at the next level that we wanted to go to. So that alone right there is huge advice. You've got to stay connected. So Ashley, thanks so much for your time. I know we had a little bit of technical difficulty, but I'll give you each about 60 seconds to share your final thought. Hope, let's start with you, and then we'll go to Ashleigh, and then I'll wrap.
So I think my final thought is, commitment and execution. People ask me whenever I'm talking to someone new about, what is coaching, how does it work? And they'll say, what is this key to success? And I have to say the key to success in coaching is commitment and execution. You've already talked about that, Todd, but I just want to reiterate that is commitment to growth and exekution. Those are the two things. Yeah.
Well, they're certainly working to fund 20 loans, almost 20 loans, 19 loans in a month, Ashleigh. Kudos. Yeah, good job. So what's your final thought you'd like to leave everybody with?
Just remember, some of us have been doing this for a year, some maybe 15 or 20. But if you've lost your passion, you have to find that again, because, you're not, it's going to turn into a paycheck one of these days. It's going to turn into a chore one of these days. But if you can find a way to connect with your clients are going to feel that. And they're going to gravitate towards you because they know that you actually care. You're not just another transaction. You're not just another mortgage loan. You're helping them accomplish a dream. Whether it's their first home or their fifth home, it's a dream. And we need to play a more personable part in that.
That is a drop the mic kind of deal right there. It's such a powerful lesson. So Ashleigh, thanks so much. And kudos to you and CMG and all the good stuff you're doing together. And Hope, thanks for making a difference in Ashleigh's life. And as is always the case, thanks everybody for joining Coffee with Todd. We do these specifically to give you ideas and showcase students that have really bought into the high trust methodology. And man, I think hiring the right people, understanding the power of one great relationship, that realtor that opened the doors to everything, and then making sure that you stay consistent. Those are 3 takeaways for me. So guys, have a great day, be productive, and we'll see you on the next edition of Coffee with Todd.
Awesome. Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.